Ladies and gentlemen, there's a growing phenomena going on in the country. There's a lot of children around the country that are refusing to go to school. They don't want to go. And they said this is actually growing. Now, I remember when I was coming up, there was one child. Well, he was a teenager. When I was in kindergarten, he was already a teenager that lived on our street in Philadelphia. And his mother tried everything, and he would not stay in school. She was like, "Oh, you going to school, you gonna do this and gonna do that." She would actually drop him off at the school. He'd walk in the school and then wait for her to leave, and then he would walk back out. He would not go to school. She tried and she tried and she tried and finally just gave up. He would not, or he would go stay for maybe one class, and then he would just get up and leave, walk out the building, you know? But he was much older than these children that you're looking at. So they said this has been growing ever since the pandemic, and they had to return back to school, these children. So I want to thank Adrian Thomas, one of my subscribers, for sending this story. I knew something was going on because even around here, there are some days I see kids during the hours that they really should be in school. So students are increasingly refusing to go to school. It's becoming a mental health crisis. And they said this has exploded since the pandemic. More students are school avoidance, leaving parents feeling hopeless and schools unequipped to find a solution. Police were in her driveway. They wanted her son, Jane Dembski. So her teenage son was not a criminal. He never stole or used illegal substances or physically hurt anybody. He just didn't want to go to school. It started in middle school, the 6th grade, when he began to stay home for school. On days his anxiety was too difficult to manage. Those days have become more frequent, turning into weeks and months until he stopped going altogether. Now, an officer was at her house waiting to take her son to school. I would describe it as hell, said the mother from Mahwah, New Jersey. That is like way, way up in the northern tip of New Jersey, very close to New York, who recalled feeling hopeless and constantly on the verge of an emotional breakdown. Dembski sought help from educators, doctors, and counselors, trying to understand what was stopping her son from going to school for nearly a year. Finally, a psychiatrist told Dembski about a condition that affects a growing number of students with severe anxiety, school avoidance. It's almost like a revelation, she told. So this behavior, ladies and gentlemen, they said it's at a crisis level in America. Now, look, we are in the final days. In these final days, you're going to see a lot of things that was the norm, and people just went along. You're going to see a lot more rebelling going on in the country. And yes, it's going to be children too. All right, we never saw no big phenomena of kids not going to school, and still, even to this day, the majority of them are still going to school that have to go to school. But, doesn't this also drive home the fact that maybe these parents that are having a rough time instead of letting the child just sit at your house, why not homeschool as an option? I'm just saying, if they don't want to be in a physical school building, then why not homeschool these children? Why just see? I don't understand why this parent is just letting their child just sit there or lay up in the bed when you can be educating them at home. Why would you just give up? See, I guess when I read this story, I don't think I would have went to doctors and educators. I would have been like, okay, well, you're going to learn at home. That would have been me. But I mean, obviously, this parent is on a whole different mindset. So, and just think about it. I did a story a few days ago about people are fed up with, dealing with things going on the job and they are leaving. They're being met with racism and all kinds of bad treatment on the job. And they're now, that's now part of the new wave of the great resignation. So now you're seeing the children getting fed up. So, school avoidant behavior, also called school refusal, is when a school age child refuses to attend school or has difficulty being in school for the entire day. Several mental health experts told USA Today that it has become a crisis that has gotten worse since the pandemic. There's no book on this. It's not spoken about, said Dembski, whose son declined to be interviewed by USA Today, but gave his mother permission to share their story. It's very scary, and parents feel a sense of helplessness. The two continued to struggle with school avoidance for 4 years with little guidance. In 2014, she created a website to offer families help and support she couldn't find. The site eventually turned into a school avoidance allegiance. So she said, she was spreading awareness and more and more people were coming onto this website with the same problem. Mm-mm-mm. So school avoidance is not a concrete diagnosis and looks different in every child. But to me, if this is a growing problem, then can't you attribute this to the poor education that these kids are getting? They're looking so hard at the child and not the entire school system that they're being subjected to. We have seen Karen in these classrooms. And that's the vast majority of the teachers, and they want it this way. How do you misguide and miseducate children better than throwing Karen in the classroom? So, okay, so you're doing all this diagnosis on the children, but why are you not looking at the system that they're refusing to go to? This is all I'm seeing when I look at this article. Then obviously there's some kind of breakdown going on. And they said, they're seeing this, but every child is different. Some students consistently missed a couple of days a week, while others may leave during the day or escape to the nurse's office or the counselor's office. In some extreme cases, students don't step foot in the school for months or years at a time. A half a dozen families and students told USA Today that the school avoidance has affected not only their mental health, often leading to anxiety and depression, but also their family dynamic relationships with fellow students and grades. It has threatened their prospects of graduation and a thriving future. So, school avoidance is a complicated condition that neither parents nor school systems are fully equipped to handle. Some experts say that school systems and national organizations are beginning to come up with strategies to get kids back in school, while others wonder if there's a better answer. Why not homeschool? Why not homeschool these children? I'm just saying. They act like when I read this article, they act like that's not an alternative at all. So, one psychiatrist, Jonathan Dalton, said he got a waiting list of 180 families right now that are having this issue with their children. So they're labeling it as a mental health crisis. That's what they're saying. So, it just goes over more students from grade school to high school that are having the same problem with getting their kids to go to school or when they go to school to stay in school. Wow. Y'all gonna have to tell me what you think about this one. I mean, we all heard about people dropping out of school, but it was never a big number of people. But look like that might be changing in this country. So please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.